Let's play. Beautiful. Okay, so at the very least, oh, it says there's one here live. It does say I'm live in Sweet Results. I just can't see it on my phone. I'm not sure why, but it says I'm good. So I'm going with I'm good. And if not, at least the Zoom replay will be here. Okay, so yes, if you see me wince or make any funny noises, it is definitely my neck that is doing that. I have this injury in my neck. I got whiplash years and years and years ago in a car accident. And every once in a while, it likes to flare up. And so my neck is out, and it's extremely painful. So I'm sorry if I kind of a few times. Okay, my notes are over here. So if you see me looking over here, it's because I'm following my notes. I don't want to miss anything. You guys kind of know how I roll. First thing I want to say is congratulations to everybody who has even made it this far. There has been a time change, hasn't there? Oh no! Oh, am I at the wrong time that you're thinking? I didn't even think of that. We did have a time change on Sunday. What time is it there? I am so sorry. I did not even think about that. I'm so sorry. We had the time change on Sunday. Yeah, Amelia, it's awful. And I fly out on Friday morning. And usually I'm not even at the worst stage yet. It progressively gets worse before it starts to heal. So I'm a little nervous. Okay. Okay, hour earlier. Okay, I'm so sorry. Well, thank goodness it's recorded. Okay, we'll figure that out for the next call so that I'm here on time, and then we'll make it work. But yeah, I just wanted to congratulate everybody who, finished the 8-week program, who put in all the effort. All the results are like crazy. Like I loved seeing those. I even messaged Amelia. I was like, when are you posting? Because I'm dying to like know who won. I didn't even do the full challenge, and I'm just like, I'm so excited for you guys. So the results are incredible. The judges are going to have a very hard time picking. I don't know if Amelia has already picked or if they're like contemplating right now. Okay, sorry. Or if they're still working on it, I don't know, but I looking at those results from that video, there's like no way I could choose. Like you guys did incredible. So congratulations to everyone who put in the work and showed up, and congratulations times 10 to the people who made the top 10. So judges are struggling. I believe you. I really, really do, because the results, like I was just like, holy smokes, like that is so incredible and so cool to see, like in an 8-week span. Amazing. You guys look at my muscle. You can see it bulging right here. Oh, it's so painful. Okay. Those of you that haven't seen a video from me before, if you're newer, you wouldn't have seen the earlier videos that I've done in the program here. I'm Jackie. I'm a women's health coach. I work with women who are feeling depleted, drained, just kind of living that mundane, exhausted day-to-day life. I help them revive their energy, their sleep, restore metabolism, just overall women's health. So what I know from the work that I do is that many women struggle with low energy, stubborn weight, disrupted sleep, irritability, like so many things come into play here. And cortisol is a large reason for that. Okay, so if you don't know what cortisol is, it is the stress response in the body. It is something that is released when your body feels stress or fear or like it's in danger. Okay. So what you're going to learn on today's call is how cortisol affects metabolism, energy, and sleep. They all go hand in hand. So I just wanted to kind of go over them, kind of blanket, and then what you can do about it. I have talked about, where'd that other comment go? That's weird. I have talked about this before, but kind of all over the place. So it's all going to be in one place for you. And I'm going to try to keep this around half an hour for you guys, so you're not here too long with me and just listening to me chat. And hopefully you guys take away a lot of value from this, okay? So first of all, understanding cortisol in the nervous system. Now, I did do a video on this, a presentation. I think it was the very first call that I did in here back in January. I think it was January, February, March. It must have been January. And I explained the nervous system, the cortisol, stress response, all of that in that video. So if you have not watched that video, I highly recommend that you go back and watch it. I also shared the nervous system stress response assessment. So if you're new here, please go do that assessment before you go on any further, because what we've noticed from people who are doing the 8 weeks with us, January 8th. Thank you, Amelia. How do you remember that? That was good. So go back to the video on January 8th, do the assessment, and then that way in like 8 weeks, 16 weeks, you know, a couple months, 6 months down the road, you can reevaluate. A lot of the women have lost almost 50% of the number they had. So the higher your number, the more chronically stressed you are, the more your nervous system is kind of frazzled. And then by the end of just what we did here in 8 weeks, the number drastically dropped for the women who were putting in the work. So pretty cool. So don't forget to do that, okay? So what you need to know is cortisol is not the enemy. We hear this all the time. It's just like, if you're on social media, you're hearing that like cortisol is bad for you. Cortisol is this like horrible thing, but cortisol is actually essential for survival. If we didn't have cortisol, we wouldn't fear things. We wouldn't run for our lives. We wouldn't play dead when we need to. Like we would just be like, meh, if something was chasing us, and we don't want that. We want adrenaline. We want cortisol pumping through us. When we are, oh my God, I'm so sorry, you guys, when we are in danger. Okay, we don't want this when we are just walking through the house, cleaning our house, or, you know, we trip over our own 2 feet and we kind of panic. We don't want to be constantly feeling like we're being chased by a dangerous animal. Okay, so our body does not know the difference between being chased by a wild animal and tripping over our own 2 feet. It has no idea the difference. It just knows it needs to panic. Okay. And it knows it needs to send out cortisol and adrenaline to survive. That's what it thinks. Okay. So it becomes dangerous when you're chronically elevated. Our body, of course, doesn't know the difference. So if it's constantly being activated, the stress response, you're going to notice a lot of symptoms. Okay. So stress activates the sympathetic nervous system. Now, I do go over this in that other video, but the sympathetic nervous system is the fight or flight side of our nervous system. Okay, so we've got fight or flight, and then we've got rest and digest. Those are the two. So stress response and then healing response. Okay, so when we're in the fight or flight response, so say we trip over something in our house, this releases cortisol, adrenaline, it increases our heart rate, blood pressure, alertness, while suppressing, okay, digestion, immune function, deep rest, and recovery, because that's the parasympathetic side, the healing side. So both of those cannot be on at the same time. I'm so sorry. I have activations on, so I talk a lot with my hands, so those come up. So you can't have both at the same time. You can either have the stress response or the healing response. You cannot have them at the same time, okay? So with the way that we live in this world right now, the way that things are, how fast-paced the world is moving, not taking time and taking care of ourselves, this causes us to be triggering the fight or flight response far more often than the rest and digest. And what happens when you do this is it kind of sends the parasympathetic side, the healing side, into like not knowing how to show up, because it's so used to being chronically elevated on the other side of things. So you kind of have to train your body to get into that rest and digest and feel comfortable there, so it knows when to be doing that more often. Okay, so, oh my goodness, I like can't even explain this pain to you. Okay, so chronic stress keeps the nervous system stuck in overdrive, leading to dysregulation, which is what I was just kind of talking about. So this can cause anxiety, fatigue, sleep disturbances, brain fog, burnout. Okay, over time, like I said, this weakens the parasympathetic nervous system, so that rest and digest side of things. It's responsible for rest, recovery, balance, healing. Oh my God, did I press record? Yes, I did. Whew, that was my alarm to remind me. Okay, so when the nervous system is dysregulated for too long, it can get stuck in hypervigilance, which is basically like constantly on high alert. It's looking for things actively to be afraid of, to be fighting. Like it's constantly telling our body that we're being chased by a wild animal. Okay, so it's ready to fight or to drop. Okay, now that's not great, because this can also lead to hypoarousal, which is like shut down. Some people explain it as numbness, pure exhaustion. So this makes it much harder to recover, feel safe, and function optimally, right? Because we're not healing, we're not recovering. Even when you're resting, if you're in shutdown, you're not actually resting. You need to actively, manually bring yourself over into parasympathetic, okay? So cortisol fluctuates throughout the day. We have it on a clock. I've also gone over this in another call where it explains this, but every cell and function in our body is on an internal clock of some sort. Okay, so if ours gets thrown off, it can cause all kinds of issues. So cortisol fluctuates throughout the day. This is normal, again, essential for survival. So it's supposed to peak in the morning, helping you get up and get out of bed, right? That if your cortisol is high, it means that you should have energy, you should be ready to tackle the day, that kind of thing, right? Then it should have a gradual decline, okay, throughout the evening. And then, of course, if you say you work out or something happens, you should have a spike in it, but it should continue to decline throughout the evening, okay? It should drop after that. And then melatonin releases at bedtime. So in the evening, it should be at its lowest to drop to get your body ready for sleep, for rest, for recovery, okay? So right at bedtime, you should be very tired. And if you're not, if you're wired but tired, like exhausted all day, but then wired at bedtime, this is how we can essentially figure out that you're chronically stressed, okay? So metabolism. Okay, let's talk about that for a second. Chronic stress increases cortisol, right? So that makes cortisol be pumped out, adrenaline be pumped out continuously more than we want it to be. So this can lead to insulin resistance, which leads to fat storage. So especially around the abdomen, you'll typically crave high sugar, carby foods. And the reason for that is because your body is looking for a quick energy fix because it's constantly running on the stress response, which depletes your energy stores, okay? So it also will end up slowing your metabolism by disrupting your thyroid function, which I think Amelia has touched on this before. I'm no thyroid expert, but I know that it honestly affects your thyroid. I do have women that come into my program who have thyroid issues. Not that that's what we work on, but they see a drastic difference in their energy and metabolism, all that, because what essentially fixing chronic stress can do is help your thyroid function properly, okay? So energy levels. So, oh, Jacqueline, I love you. I can't wait to see you on the 12th. Hi, welcome. Welcome to the video, my dear. Okay, so energy levels. Stress keeps the body in constant state of alertness, leading to adrenal fatigue, energy crashes, and reliance on caffeine, sugar, carby foods, like I was just saying, for a quick energy boost. Over time, this depletes energy reserves and leads to exhaustion because you literally have nothing left. So your body is constantly searching for a food source, for an energy source, and eventually that's going to run out if you're constantly on high alert, if you're constantly depleting your energy. There's only so much for you to give. And when it stops having anything to give, pure exhaustion. Okay. This affects sleep quality as well. So high cortisol disrupts the natural sleep-wake cycle, which is known as our circadian rhythm. Again, an internal clock, making it harder to sleep, stay asleep, and reach that deep restorative sleep. So even if you are sleeping, if you're waking up feeling exhausted, you're probably not getting a great sleep, again, because of the nervous system and cortisol response. So this can lead to grogginess, irritability, and difficulty recovering from stress. Okay. So cortisol and metabolism, the weight and energy connection. So high cortisol triggers fat storage, which we just kind of touched on. So it's kind of typically in the belly area because this is a survival mechanism. It's just kind of where the stores are. So if you notice that you, don't put on weight on your the rest of your body typically, but mostly in the stomach area, that's a very high indicator that your cortisol is high. Okay. So again, it leads to insulin resistance, those sugar cravings. This also makes weight loss, of course, much harder, right? So it impacts thyroid function, slows metabolism, causing fatigue and sluggishness, sorry. Energy dips and crashes happen when blood sugar and cortisol levels fluctuate too much. The reason that this is happening, blood sugar spikes and crashes. So eating high sugar or refined carby foods cause for a quick energy boost, but insulin rapidly lowers blood sugar, which is what leads to the crash. So if you've ever, eaten like a high fatty or high carb or high sugar something, and then you have like all this energy for a quick minute and then you absolutely crash. For me, if I go out and eat at a restaurant and I don't eat like a salad or a soup or something, I eat like, say, a chicken burger, like a deep fried chicken burger and fries, I am exhausted afterwards. That's what's happening, is it's lowering the blood sugar and leading to that crash. Okay. So cortisol dysregulation. So Cortisol and adrenaline keep you alert, but when they drop suddenly, your energy crashes, right? So that's that same thing. If you're constantly doing this, you're going to feel those crashes. The two main times that you'll typically feel these crashes is first thing in the morning and the afternoon. Okay, those are typically the two times. It can happen for different people. All schedules are different, but those are the two main times. Jacqueline, I so get it. And you have to remember that being extremely skinny in any aspect isn't exactly healthy. So it's like weight loss isn't necessarily about that. We actually want to have a little layer of fat, especially over our stomach, especially as females, because that is what protects our organs, right? So we are so hard on ourselves, but it's more so about feeling better and then losing the fat storage rather than completely losing all the fat. Does that make sense? Hopefully that made sense. So yes, they keep you on high alert, but when they drop suddenly, energy crashes follow. Chronic stress can also make cortisol stay too high or too low at the wrong time, which hugely disrupts energy. And that's where you're going to get those energy crashes. So adrenal fatigue, when stress is constant, the body overproduces cortisol until the adrenal glands struggle to keep up, leading to that burnout and exhaustion. Okay. So cortisol and melatonin are opposites. Okay, so when cortisol is high at night, melatonin stays low, which leads to poor sleep. You want to naturally support your body to lower cortisol throughout the day so that melatonin can turn on in the evening. Every time I raise my hands, I'm so sorry. In the evening, so that you're feeling tired and ready to sleep at nighttime. So we want to balance your cortisol. And we want it to be high at the right time. And then we want melatonin to be high at the right time. So we want cortisol to be high in the morning. We want it to slowly deplete / fluctuate lightly throughout the day. And then we want melatonin to be triggered on in the evening. Okay. Chronic stress disrupts deep sleep cycles, reducing recovery and energy. Poor sleep keeps cortisol elevated the next day. Right? Because if you don't sleep well, you're not getting into that recovery, which means that it's staying elevated and then it's not going to be able to drop as easily. And that creates the same feelings every day when you know you're like, I'm going to go to bed, I'm going to have a better day and it's going to be amazing. I'm going to wake up energized. And then you wake up feeling like crap. You have the afternoon crash. You try to go to bed at night. You're still exhausted, but you're also wired. It's just an awful, vicious cycle. I just want it to be flat, not like a hill on my belly. Totally fair. Totally fair. But remember, we've also had babies. We've also had babies, so our skin is different. And that's a privilege, but I get it. I understand. Cortisol spike at 3 a.m. is very common. So if you find yourself waking up between like 2 and 4 a.m., that is typically cortisol. Okay. So it can spike around that time, often happens because the blood sugar drops, stress or dysregulated nervous system. Okay. So when you have a blood sugar crash, so say you eat late at night and you're giving it that energy, but then your body doesn't use it properly before falling asleep because you start to get tired and it's not breaking down food properly, then you can end up having too low of a drop in your blood sugar overnight. This can be caused from stress, poor diet, irregular eating, etc. But the body releases cortisol and adrenaline to bring it back up. Okay, so that wakes you up kind of suddenly because it thinks that it's like ready to go for the day, but it's the wrong time of day. Okay. So an overactive stress response, chronic stress can keep cortisol too high at night, making it hard to stay asleep. Cortisol and melatonin imbalance. Ideally, cortisol should be low at night while melatonin high for deep sleep, which I just went over. I'm getting ahead of myself. I'm getting excited and talking and then coming to my notes and I'm like, I already said that. Okay. So it can also happen from an overloaded nervous system, but honestly, if you're in chronic stress and the sympathetic side of things, then it's very common for this to be happening because your nervous system is essentially what releases cortisol, right? So if your body is stuck in fight or flight mode, it remains hyper alert, making it easier to wake up and harder to fall back asleep, okay? So now the important part, how do we fix it? Okay, so a lot of you, oh, sorry, Jacqueline, I missed your comment. What was you years ago? The waking up in the middle of the night? Okay, how to fix it. So that's the important part, right? Like I mean, I'm sure you guys do want to understand like what is cortisol, metabolism, all the things, but I think what's really important is like, how do we fix it? How do we get out of this? So a lot of you have already started. You're feeling much better. You're digesting food better. You're losing that stubborn weight that you haven't been able to take off in years. You're not having those energy crashes, etc. But I am going to go over some things that you need to do. Chronic stress and no sleep. Yes, yes, yes. And I feel like you, Jacqueline, have come such a long way since starting this program. Like, it's absolutely incredible. So we have talked about a few of these, but I think it's just so important to remember them and to have like that reminder to incorporate some of these things. So if you've stopped or you never did start implementing them, we're going to do that now. So number one is breath work and nervous system work. So we've talked about this. I've taught some techniques, but two that are super easy are box breathing. So 4, 4, 4, 4. So you inhale for 4, you hold for 4, you exhale for 4, and you hold for 4. And you do that for a couple minutes. So what that does is that activates the parasympathetic side, the part where we're really struggling to get into that side of things, the healing and recovery side. So breath work is one of the only techniques that manually and almost instantly brings our body into parasympathetic. Okay, so you kind of want to train it, and by doing that quite often. Oh my God, sorry. And then there is the nervous system reset, which I have taught on here, and I'm going to have to just post a video because I can't do it because of my neck, but I'll explain it right now so that you do know which one I'm talking about. You can do this. Yeah, absolutely, Jacqueline. You can do this at any time. I suggest in the morning and before bed, but don't overdo it. And just remember to be somewhere safe sitting down, because you can get dizzy from this, especially in the beginning when you're first learning it and doing it. But what you're going to do is you're going to look left as far as you can, and then you're going to look right as far as you can. Okay, then you're going to bring your face back to center. What you're going to do is you're going to place your hands behind your head. Okay, they're going to be like at this spot right here behind your head. And then what you're going to do is you're going to keep your face forward, but your eyes are going to go all the way to the left until you have some form of release. So that's a big breath in. It can be a sneeze. Your eyes can twitch. Your eyes might water. Yawning is very, very popular, or common, I should say, not popular, but it's common. These are all signs that you're activating the parasympathetic, that you're shifting into rest and digest. So you're going to do the left until you have a release. You're going to do the right until you have a release. Again, face forward, only eyes. You're going to feel a strain on your eyes, and you want that. Okay. You're going to release that, look forward, and then you're going to look left again, and you're going to look right again. And you're going to realize that you released a lot of the muscle tension in your neck, which is where your nervous system stems from, the majority of your nervous system. Okay. So those are two things: breath work and nervous system reset daily, like godsend, life-changing. Okay. So eating regularly. If you're on Amelia's program, you should already be doing this, but this is crucial. Okay. For energy, for metabolism, supporting your thyroid, supporting your nervous system. We need energy to survive. And if you're not feeding your body the right energy, you're going to be exhausted and depleted, and you're going to be pulling energy from the wrong parts of your body, which is typically muscle, where your body goes after muscle first. And we want it to be going after fat, but it needs energy or an energy source in order to activate how our body does that. Okay. Yes, you need energy to survive. So one thing that I talk about with almost every single client is their exhaustion. And when I talk to them and I ask them what their eating habits look like, pretty much always the same. Coffee in the morning, don't eat breakfast, only eat in the afternoon or late at bedtime, and then they gorge out and eat snacks in the evening. This is a very common theme. And once you start eating every 2 to 3 hours and you incorporate proteins, healthy fats, and good carbs, complex carbs more often, you are going to notice a huge shift in your energy and how your body performs. Okay. Yes. Breath work and nervous system. Yes. Reset. Okay. So I actually am going to share, because nutrition for cortisol balance is really important as well. Of course, if you're eating chips every day, you're going to feel like you're eating chips every day. If you're eating those proteins, healthy fats, complex carbs, you're going to feel like $1 million compared to before. Okay. So I'm going to share a list of foods to avoid and a list of foods to incorporate, which I know Amelia's got you guys in this, but it's just kind of a list that if you're like getting bored or you're not sure or you're wondering or whatever, and you just kind of want to have a look, absolutely do. So I'll post that under here. Magnesium, super important. So magnesium high foods is great, but you can also take a supplement. And I would suggest that before bed. If you take it during the day, it can make you tired. There's also adaptogens, which is basically herbs and roots and such things that help your body adapt to stress. Okay, so if you look up adaptogens, you'll see. I'm not a doctor. I cannot tell you guys to go try XYZ. You guys kind of have to do your own research on that, but just know that they are beautiful for supporting the adrenals, and cortisol and nervous system. Okay. So we've talked about this before as well. Like, I cannot express to you how important this is. Getting morning sunlight and movement to regulate your sleep-wake cycle. Honestly, 5 to 10 minutes. You don't need to be outside for this huge amount of time. You don't need to like walk around the block for an hour. I mean, if you got time, great, do it. But morning movement and sunlight, this just tells your body it's ready to do the things it's meant to do. Turns on digestion. It turns on the energy. It starts to lower the cortisol. It tells your body it's time to be awake and functioning. If you don't do this and you skip this, you might feel sluggish and you might not be sleeping well. Okay, I'm going to do 2 more things. So evening wind down routine. So this is really simple. This is just moving slower in the evenings, not, working on your computer till midnight and doing the things that really could be done tomorrow. Blue light blocking glasses and any kind of relaxation technique. So this can be tea and winding down with a book. This is just slowing down, slow down your evenings. Okay. Start with food, breathe and movement before spending money on supplements. 110%. Exactly. Yeah. So the supplement talk gets me a little heated. Like, I absolutely, like, so many people are just like out there looking for like the best protein shake and the best supplement and the best energy drink and the best and the best. And like, the best thing you can do for yourself is support your body naturally with the sunlight, with the movement, with taking care of your nervous system, with exercise. Like, it's just, you'll see a world of a difference compared to any supplement out there. So I completely agree, Amelia. So then the last thing is mindset and stress resilience. So this is just reframing stress, gratitude, and reducing perfectionism, allowing yourself to fail, allowing yourself to not get things done, allowing yourself real rest, and giving yourself grace, giving yourself compassion. Self-love and self-compassion are 2 of the hardest things to do and to give, and they are the most life-changing. They're forgotten about, very much so, in our world. So that's where we're at for today. I just wanted to kind of share why you might be experiencing things, why things are kind of functioning, how things function, that kind of thing. Tea in a book is great. I can't even stay awake for 20 minutes reading anymore. I'm out so fast. You have no idea like how good that feels to hear. We need sleep. We need sleep. We need real rest. And that tells me that your body is shifting into parasympathetic, that it tells me that you are producing melatonin naturally. And it tells me that you're getting what your body needs to recover, to have a good day the next day. Like, it is as simple as that, but you've done the work, you're doing it. I'm still struggling with those 2, which mindset and stress resilience, self-love and self-compassion. Is that what you're talking about? If so, mirror work. Have you talked to me about mirror work? You guys, I love mirror work. Jacqueline, I can explain mirror work to you, but I feel like actually maybe I'll leave that for another call. But Jacqueline, if you want to start it sooner, mirror work is absolutely incredible for resilience, self-love, self-compassion, self-acceptance, self-understanding. I think we did talk about it. Jacqueline, we did talk about it because it was on my last call when I talked about processing emotions, which is super important for your nervous system and allowing things to kind of reframe in your mind and your body. So if you're not doing the mirror work, I highly suggest it. Okay, so I will leave you guys with that. Thank you guys for being here today. Thank you for hopping on. And if you guys, of course, have any questions, don't be afraid to reach out. Don't hesitate at all to put any questions in the group so that I can answer them for you. And just show up and do your best. That's all I can really ask, right? Just take the advice from Amelia and the other coaches in here, and you'll continue to feel better and do better and show up better in the world. Okay. I adore you guys and I will see you on the next call. Bye, guys.